Hey guys, good morning and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to walk you through some orchids that I've got this week that I ordered from Orchids by Hausermann. So, I'll walk you through what I've got and show you all of these new little orchids. So starting with the first orchid I got, it's the Brassavola Yellowbird. So this one is a couple of years from blooming, and the flowers are beautiful and they're supposed to be very fragrant. And I like the Brassavola type orchids. They smell beautiful at night. And I saw the pictures of these, which I'll put up for you to see. And I just really like the way it looked. This one has a lot of new growths. So you can see there's one coming up right here, another one here. It's pretty bushy for a young orchid, and this one should do really well. So I really like this one. It looks great in my opinion, and I'm gonna be repotting it soon. Really like this one. The next orchid I have is the Neophoenicia falcata, crossed with the Neophoenicia falcata Haisui. And this one is probably one of my favorite ones from this box so far. So I don't have that many Vandas, but I've read that these Neophoenicias don't require too much light, so they're easier for my conditions at home growing under lights. And the best part of this orchid is that the flowers are really, really fragrant. And I was very surprised. It came out of the box and I obviously couldn't smell anything, but the very next day at night, I smelled these flowers and they were heavenly. So they smelled a little bit like perfume, like an expensive perfume, a little bit soapy, a little bit like jasmine, and you know, they're so small yet elegant. And yeah, it's got multiple growths. So 1, 2, looks like 3 different growths, and looks like there's another new one coming in right there, right here. So yeah, this is the Neophoenicia falcata with the Neophoenicia falcata Haisui. Up next, I have a Balera Patricia McCulley, Pacific matriarch. This is 2 to 3 years from blooming. These orchids, they do really well for me, these types of oncidiums. It's supposed to take some time for them to bloom, but I'm confident that it'll do very well under my grow light setup. The flowers are pink with specks, if I recall correctly. And I really, really like the way it looked. I think it was 10 bucks for this. It's gonna require some patience, but that's okay. I like to watch these orchids grow. It's got a new growth over here, which is forming a new bulb. And it's got 2 other older bulbs here. So we will take good care of this one and see it grow. Now this one's going to be more difficult than the Balera, but I'm going to give it a shot. So this is the Zygopetalum Arthur L. So this one's going to be more difficult, but we're going to give it a shot. So this one is the Zygopetalum Arthur L. York crossed with Zygopetalum Blue Blazes. And this is a zygo cross. It requires a little bit more involved care from what I've read. I'm not an expert on zygos. This is actually my very first one, but I know that it is different from the regular oncidiums. So the flowers were blue and brown and purple, and I had never seen anything like it. This is about 2 years from blooming as well, so it'll take a long time, but I'll read up on its care and make sure I take good care of this one. So this is the Zygopetalum. Next up, I got a couple of Phalaenopsis that I've always wanted. So this one is the Phalaenopsis violacea variation indigo crossed with sibling. So this one is, I believe it's supposed to remain quite small. I will look up the description to see if this is a small baby orchid or if it stays very small. But I need to repot this one pretty quickly. This one's on an angle. It looks like this leaf on the bottom is probably on its way out. It may have just shifted during the shipping process. But I love the shiny leaves on this one. And it's supposed to be a very fragrant Phalaenopsis orchid and very easy to grow, which is why I got it. So I have a lot of Cattleyas, and I wanted to diversify and get some lower light orchids back into the fold because they're very easy and I don't have to worry too much. Plus, this is perfect for my grow space. It's so tiny. I got another Phalaenopsis. I actually got 4 or 5 in this haul because I wanted more Phalaenopsis. But this one is the Phalaenopsis Balena Platinum crossed with the Phalaenopsis Balena Red Star. And I believe this one remains tiny and compact. I have to also repot this. I think it may have shifted during shipping, but that's all good. So this one, no spikes or anything on it, but the flowers were very pretty that I saw on the website, so I'll put them up. But yeah, I'll be repotting these this weekend. Continuing with the Phalaenopsis, I do have another larger Phalaenopsis here, and this one is the Phalaenopsis hieroglyphica. And this one has very beautiful flowers. They look essentially like hieroglyphics. They're white with some spotting on the petals. It is a sequential bloomer, and I've never had this type, so I only have 2 Phalaenopsis currently outside of this haul, and they are very complex hybrids from your grocery store, so I've never had any primary hybrids or species type Phalaenopsis that are fragrant, so this is a first for me. What I did notice is that it has a flower spike right here, which is great. So I should be seeing flowers later in the fall or earlier in the winter. And then when I dug it in a little bit deeper, I noticed another flower spike right there. It looks like it is not a root. It looks like a flower spike. Hope you can get a good view of that, but that'll be really nice to have 2 new flower spikes coming out of this. So this is the Phalaenopsis hieroglyphica. Moving on to the other Phalaenopsis that I got, this one right over here is a, it was on sale for $5.99, so I couldn't resist. So for this one, this is a traditional like white Phalaenopsis. It's called the Phalaenopsis stars Fiona M80. I got this one because I wanted to experiment with different growing methods, so I'm going to put it in semi-hydro. And this was on sale because it just finished blooming, as you can see from the flower spikes that were cut off. And I probably won't see this bloom until probably next fall, maybe in the spring, but I want to experiment with it. It does need a repot. Some of these roots are huge, as you can see, and it's got a lot of aerial roots. But for $5.99, you really can't go wrong. This looks really good. I just got to cut these old roots off and get it in a new pot, and it'll get situated. And the next Phalaenopsis that I have, I'm really excited about. So it is a fragrant orchid, and here we go. This is also, it's called the Phalaenopsis LD's Bear King RH3. This orchid has a orange flowers, which is beautiful. You don't see orange flowers in orchids that often. The leaves are very shiny, which is also a first for me. Like I said, I only have the standard Phalaenopsis, so I've never seen these shiny type of leaves. And it's got a flower spike right over here. So I'll be seeing some flowers soon. It is orange and also smells like citrus, which is why I got it. I always find it funny when you get these orchids and the leaves are up like that. I always thought in the beginning when I first started growing orchids that they were supposed to grow up this way, but then I learned that when they're grown in nurseries, they have them in containers that force them to grow this way to save space. So I always find that funny because it doesn't last once they're home. They sort of fall down. But really excited about that flower spike, and I should have flowers very soon. Moving on to the last orchid that I have, this one I am really, really excited about. So this is the Brassavola Digbiana crossed with Self. And this orchid has the most beautiful, beautiful flowers. It is 3 years from blooming. So it's going to require a lot of patience. I'll say that it has a lot of new little growths, so that's lovely. Like this one right over here is brand new. This one back here looks mature. Maybe it won't take 3 years, who knows? But it's in a very tiny 2-inch pot. Maybe, yeah, it's about a 2-inch pot. The flowers are very frilly, and I've never seen anything like it. And I really like Brassavolas. So I have the Brassavola Little Stars, and I really enjoyed the fragrance. I find them very easy to grow, and just the scent that they give off is lovely. So if I have a chance to add more Brassavolas, if I have room, of course, I probably will. They're not very finicky. They're okay if you don't water them. I've grown them outside, and they've been okay. So this is a really nice one. So that is it, guys. So I've got 10 orchids. The majority of them are pretty compact, as you can see. They're very tiny, so they're perfect for my grow shelves. The Phalaenopsis don't require too much light. The Brassavolas do require higher light levels, but they're smaller, so I can get away with not providing them with, say, Vanda level lights or Cattleya level. Well, probably got to give them Cattleya level lights, but given that they're smaller, they're a little bit easier to take care of. The Zygopetalums and the Balera, they're going to take me a very long time to grow, but patience is a part of this hobby, right? So I'm not complaining. And also, some of these were $10. Like this one was $20. This yellow bird. But the Balera was $10, and you know, some of them you get for $5. 3 years from blooming, you do need patience, but like if you buy a full blooming plant, sometimes they are $50, depending on where you get it from, sometimes even more. So I'd rather wait, and it's more rewarding that way anyway. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll keep you posted on updates with these. Talk soon. Bye.